It's time to earn some extra credit, everybody. The show dedicated to a new topic every episode filled with fun facts and very interesting questions. No matter what you think, learn, or already know, you only have to make the closest guesses to earn yourself some extra credit. Peter, Will, I'm so glad to have you both here.
I need this extra credit.
Yeah, you need this
what is
extra credit
for?
It's for you guys. Clearly, you're falling behind and need a little bit of extra credit.
Just in life.
In life. Social credit score goes up.
Social credit.
Today's subject, everybody, is birds. That's right.
Ooh.
Whether you grab a pair of binoculars and search for those feathered beauties in the forest, or stare out your window waiting to see if the batteries fall out of their backs, birds are everywhere. They come in all shapes and sizes, and I'm going to share just a handful of facts with you today. Players, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's get to it. Your first bird, hummingbirds.
That's a bird. Buzz.
That's a point? No, I'm kidding. Hummingbirds are small, adorable wonders. The bee hummingbird is about 2 inches long and weighs less than a dime. We've seen some hummingbirds' heartbeat hit speeds as high as 1,260 beats per minute. They're named after the humming sounds made by their wings as they fly, flapping their wings around 60 to 80 times per second. All of that cool information aside, if we took the amount of calories hummingbirds eat in a day and we scaled that to person size, how many calories would we as people be eating per day? I will let you know the average daily calorie intake for men is somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000. For women, it's a little lower, like 1,600 to 2,400. And I'm not looking for 2 separate answers here, just one default answer.
Did I change my answer?
While they think, here's another little fun fact about hummingbirds for you. They cannot walk. They can only perch and scoot sideways, but they cannot walk. All right, I got your answers. Will, you guessed a whopping 35,000 calories.
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
Peter, on the other hand, said, I don't know, at least 5, maybe 6. So,
Maybe I grossly misunderstood the point of this game. I'm just taking an educated guess. Peter said 5.
maybe 6.
Maybe 6. Maybe 6.
I love that there's a world where if the number falls between you guys in an area,
Yeah,
who knows?
So if it's 17,500 or less, Peter wins.
Anything's possible on this show. The answer is, if we scale up how many calories in a day the typical hummingbird consumes, we as humans would be taking in about 155,000 calories every day.
Wow.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
way off.
Way off and yet still getting the point, Will. Good job.
Might even be 7, Peter.
It could be 7.
Hummingbirds exert an incredible amount of energy daily and have an incredible metabolism to balance that out. Everybody, your next bird is the Madagascar fish eagle. The Madagascar fish eagle, otherwise known as Ichthyophaga vociferoides, considered one of the rarest birds in the world, classified as critically endangered with an estimated population of fewer than 300 remaining. Some people believe that the foot of this bird can offer healing powers, so much so that they will trap this bird to take the leg for themselves. There's at least one known study of a Madagascar fish eagle surviving these encounters and managing to hunt and grow an entire family all with one leg. Players, after hearing all of this, all I ask from you is, how do you spell Ichthyophaga vociferoides? And I'm looking for the closest spelling.
I was hoping that the question would be, how many legs do you think you could survive with? But
How many legs could you grow a family with?
yes.
Could you say it one more time?
Can you say it again?
Ichthyophaga vociferoides. All right, I see both of your answers, and you're both Interesting, close, and way off at the same time. I have to go with my gut here because I have no good way other than counting the letters to just see who was the closest. Truthfully, I'm going to give this to Will because you were the only person to get a string of properly ordered letters with that ICTHY there at the beginning for ichthyophaga.
Oh, nice.
The correct way to spell this word is right here. I did see a couple sources that gave ichthyophaga an extra H right after the C, but this was the most common spelling that I found. Long story short, I think that they're both equally right, and if any bird expert out there wants to correct me or clarify, you are more than welcome to. Players, your next bird, the red-billed Quelea. On a different note, one of the most common wild birds in the world is the red-billed Quelea, or red-billed weaver, with a population of over 1.5 billion in the world.
No.
They're about the size of a swallow and yet eat half their body weight in grass and seeds daily. Flocks of this bird have been known to migrate as far as 2,000 kilometers, which is 1,243 miles. That's like traveling all the way from Los Angeles in California to where? I need you to give me a city you think is approximately 1,243 miles away from Los Angeles. You can look at a map of cities. Give me a city and whoever's closest in distance, but you can't actually look up that it's that distance. All right, I got your answers. Will, you said from LA to Portland, Oregon. Peter, you said from LA to Hollywood, but like take a lot of detours.
Yeah, fair enough. The long way.
The long way. Hollywood, the long way. I'm gonna give this one to Will.
Oh wow!
From
all this extra credit.
From my approximation, you were about 280 miles off. LA to Portland was about 962 miles. All right, players, it's time for your first mini game. I tried to think of something topical for birds, and I thought, what better subject for birds than bird calling?
Yeah, super topical.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you a bird. I'm gonna give you a little bit of what I think they sound like, and whoever I think is actually closest in the sound, I will give you a point. For this mini game, your bird is the Capuchin bird.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
he looks like a monkey.
Look at that receding hairline. I'll at least tell you that to me, this bird sounds similar to that of an angry cat. You guys are going to give me a bird call, and whoever's bird call.
We have to do the call.
Yeah. Me first?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me over here?
I can hear you, Peter.
Okay.
We got like almost half of that, I would say.
I got the gist. I got what he's going for. The Tom and Jerry scream. Will, hit me with your best sound.
There's my noise. Did we get it?
I think so.
I think we got it.
Am I mistaken that yours sounded like
Yeah, probably. However it came through, I'm happy with it.
It did sound like it sounded like something being immediately thrown into a duffel bag. After hearing that, players, this is what they actually sound like. A deep growl at the enemy.
Wow.
And I got shrieks out of you
That
guys.
sounds like an angry cat. That's cool.
I think, not to toot my own horn here, but I think if I was being thrown into a pillow sack, that's what that sounds like.
I agree. I think Peter should take it.
You know what? Out of the modesty from both sides and both of you being very far off, I'll give you both a point there for the team spirit. Everybody gets a point here. Moving on, your next bird, the pigeon. Pigeons may be both the world's greatest gift and greatest mystery. They could be trained to quickly deliver important messages across enemy lines, potentially saving thousands of lives over the years. They could be trained in aiding rescue missions for people lost at sea and can detect ultraviolet light that surrounds people lost in the water. Pigeons can find their way home from up to 1,300 miles away, which, as we just learned, is kind of like Los Angeles to Portland. All the while, if you're ever walking down the theater district of Boston, they don't know how to get out of your walking path to save their lives. I could choose to tell you facts about how helpful pigeons are, how helpless pigeons are, but instead, I'm choosing to tell you all about pigeon milk. Yup, you heard me right. pigeon milk. I'm so sorry to put this image in your brain, but imagine a semi-solid substance that kind of looks like a pale yellow cottage cheese. That's pigeon milk. It's incredibly high in protein and fat, more than cow or human milk. It has antioxidants, antibodies, and immune-enhancing factors. Players, my question for you is, out of the 32 states and DC included that have an official beverage, how many states have milk as their official beverage?
Just milk in general?
Just milk. There are 32 states and DC included to make 33 that have an official beverage. So out of a number of 33 total, how many have milk as their official beverage? This is just like Stinkbird. Yeah. Well, they think. I'll give you an extra milk and pigeon fact. Fun fact about milk: frogs used to be placed into milk buckets in ancient Russia to prevent milk from going sour, and it worked. And for another pigeon fact, they can recognize every letter of the alphabet, they can tell two photographs apart, and they can even recognize themselves in a mirror.
Are you kidding?
Oh, wait.
This bird is brilliant.
Have you seen their nests?
Oh my god, that's nothing!
They're like abysmal.
So lazy.
All right, I got both of your answers. Will, you think only Wisconsin has milk as its official beverage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of beverages.
Sure, that's true. There's plenty to pick from.
That's fantastic.
Peter, you said, and I'll read the whole thing up to your final, 33. No, wait, 32. I know Texas is Dr. Pepper. No, wait, 31. I know California's kombucha. No, wait, 30. Wisconsin's probably milk. Wait, 31. So you finished on 31.
Yes, sir.
31 states
Yes, sir.
that all had the answer of milk as their...
Oh, no, Utah's probably root beer.
Out of the 33 total locations with an official beverage, a whopping 20 of those places chose milk. So that is a point to Peter. Fun fact, close but not included in that 20, Rhode Island's official beverage since 1993 has been coffee milk, which is 1 part coffee and 10 parts milk. And it's actually a coffee syrup that they add to the milk the exact same way anybody would add chocolate syrup while making chocolate milk. Although it does involve a lot of milk, I feel like I can count that as its own unique beverage. All right, players, your next bird, the blue jay. For those who don't know, my favorite bird is the blue jay. I think it's one of the prettiest birds, and they're not even blue. They have a brown pigment in their feathers, and they only appear blue due to light refraction. Blue jays are also really into something called anting, where before eating an ant, they will rub ants on their feathers to drain them of their formic acids, which an ant would use to mark where they are and recruit any other ants.
So that makes the other ants come to the blue jay?
I was thinking of it as they do it to prevent others from coming, but at the same time, if they eat ants and they're just like, yeah, this is where the scent is, if it just gathers more food for them, power to them.
God, imagine if you could like rub Dorito dust on you and other Doritos were like, we have to go there.
Yeah.
What a superpower. As a relative of crows and ravens, blue jays have been seen in captivity being very intelligent and resourceful, turning trash into tools, once using strips of newspaper to rake food outside of their cages back into it. My question for you players is, what was the 2024 Toronto Blue Jays win-loss record?
Come on.
And I will tell you. I will tell you that out of the 162 baseball games each team plays in a year, I'm looking for how many of those were wins and how many were losses.
That's way too many games.
116?
162. March to October. I got your answers. Will, your answer was, I don't know about the Blue Jays, but the Brown Jays went 112 and 50, meaning you think that they got 112 wins. That's, I'll tell you this, real good for a baseball team. It's
great season.
Yeah. And Peter, you said 69 and 93.
Yeah.
So you actually
number and math.
You actively
That's so good. I love that, Peter.
Strategy. In 2024, the Toronto Blue Jays finished the year with a record of 74-88. Peter, you were incredibly close.
That is super close.
Peter, you were 5 wins off from that being correct.
Man, funny number was such a good answer. My goodness.
Funny number. Fun fact about the team name, by the way. I grew up believing that the name stemmed from the Blue Jay, likely being the official bird of Toronto, but that is not the case. They may have Blue Jays, but have no official bird. Toronto actually just held a contest with over 4,000 suggestions of what to name the team. Toronto had a tradition of having blue in their uniforms, and the influence of the majority owner's flagship beer, Labatt Blue, is what led to settling on Toronto Blue Jays. Your next bird, the Peregrine Falcon.
I know that
like
one.
this
You know this one?
That's a good one.
It's a
I like
good
this
bird.
one.
For those who don't know, the Peregrine Falcon is the fastest bird in the world, managing to reach speeds anywhere from 200 to 240 miles per hour while diving. This doesn't just make it the world's fastest bird, it's considered the world's fastest animal. Meanwhile, the cheetah is only the fastest land animal, reaching speeds between 50 to 80 miles per hour on foot, and the fastest sea animal is either the marlin or sailfish, reaching burst speeds within the range of 60 to 80 miles per hour. A wild fact for you, thankfully this has never happened before, but the flight of this 1.5-foot bird is so incredible, it could snap the spinal cord of a person on collision.
I mean, I better do some damage to the Falcon too, but I don't think he's walking off that one.
Sure. My question for you, players, is how many vertebrae are there in the average human spine?
Zane.
10, 11.
This is a good
Rick,
strategy.
hold on.
Throwing numbers out.
Oh,
there.
wait. I screwed up. Those are my toes, not my vertebrae.
You were at 12 and counting.
You got to 18?
All right, I got both of your answers. Will, you think that there are 28 vertebrae. Peter, you think there are 36 vertebrae. The average human spine is made up of 33 vertebrae,
No!
which does go to Peter for being
Dang it.
3 off.
That was really close.
Yeah, it was really close. 33 total vertebrae. This includes 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 4 coccygeal. All right, players, time for your second mini game. I'm gonna need another bird call, this time for the brown sicklebill. I will let you know that to me, this bird sounds similar to that of a Tommy gun.
All right, ready? That's what you did.
Okay, all right, thank you, Will. Peter, what's yours? Very
I like that.
good.
I like that.
Everybody, this is what the brown sicklebill actually sounds like. Straight up.
That's just a jackhammer.
That's some Call of Duty zombies. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Play it again.
I'm gonna, yeah, here you go if you want it one more time. That is sound effects at its best if you need it for a video game.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that one definitely goes to Will.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving it to
That sounds like
Porky
it's just
Pig
an
over
audio
here.
From Nom.
Players, your next bird, the raven. Ravens have a reputation as some of the smartest birds out there, as well as some of the most spooky vibes surrounding them. They're great at mimicry. They can mimic wolf howls. They can even mimic human voices, often better than a parrot can. Just like how their relative, the crow, in groups is called a murder, a group of ravens can be called an unkindness, a treachery, or even a conspiracy. Ravens can also be incredibly playful, surfing updrafts, doing somersaults, and even flying upside down. My question for you, players, is what is the longest inverted flight ever achieved by a person? I'm looking for any length of time as an answer here.
Inverted flight.
That is the record for how long a person has flown for upside down.
Does in a plane count?
Yeah, kind of what I'm going for, right?
I just mean I'm sure there's a record as well, like if you're in a wingsuit or something.
Sure. I'm sure it's 2 seconds before they hit the rocks, but sure.
The rest of their life. Hey, does space count?
I don't think we count space. I don't think we count space for this. All right, I got both of your answers. Will, you think the longest inverted flight, so the longest record for a person having a flight upside down consecutively, is 48 minutes and 17 seconds. On the other hand, Peter, you said 40,075 kilometers, 80 days, as seen by a man in Australia.
I'm sure the Aussies have to have seen around the world in 80 days at least once.
On July 24th, 1991, Joanne Osserud set a world record flying from Vancouver to Vanderhoof, flying inverted for a total of 4 hours, 38 minutes, and 10 seconds. That's absolutely going to Will.
It was distance and time.
Oh, you said son.
Next bird, the bee eater. You know what I love about summer? The weather. You know what I hate about summer? Bees. The rainbow bee eater mostly eats venomous bees and wasps. They actually remove the stingers and squeeze the venom out first. Supposedly, they're immune to this venom, but they do eat up to 300 bees and wasps every day, so I'm sure that they'd rather be safe than sorry. Bee eaters are earth hole nesters, meaning they burrow tunnels into the earth and leave an ovular chamber at the end for their eggs. My question for you, players, is, on average, how much honey does one worker bee produce within its lifetime? Grams works, and if you don't know grams, I'll just do a converter. All right, I got everyone's answers. Will, I see that you submitted a teaspoon worth of honey, which from my conversion with honey was about 7 grams. Peter, I see that you submitted 269 grams.
Good
Yes.
gravy. You think it's that much?
I think that they make a lot of honey.
The average worker bee within its lifetime produces a total of 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey, which is just 0.8 grams of honey.
Is
Oh,
that
no.
more than they weigh?
So a worker bee weighs 0.1 grams. It makes 8
make
times
0.8.
its weight. That means a rainbow bee eater, if it was only eating worker bees, would prevent 240 grams, which is 1 cup worth of honey every day. Your next bird, the cassowary.
Oh,
Now-
my favorite.
That's great to hear, because before I show you, I'm just going to describe some of this nasty bird.
Oh, yes. This is, for context, Will, this was my favorite animal to see at the zoo when I was a child. I loved
Really?
going to look at the cassowary. Yes, I did.
Really?
We'll see if
Yes,
that
sir.
gives you a leg up here or not.
I'll be honest, I don't think it will. I don't know that many facts about these guys.
Well, considering none of these questions have actually been about the birds, I think it won't help regardless.
The southern cassowary has been called the most dangerous bird in the world. It's nicknamed the murder bird. This bird comes in at 6 feet tall and 100
Oh.
pounds.
Oh my gosh, this is real?
Cassowaries have
Oh, yeah.
have one 5-inch claw on a toe of each foot and have been known to charge and kick their victims, running up to 30 miles per hour and leaping over 7 feet in the air, which is terrifying for a flightless bird. They have a casque on their heads, which is believed to be used as a sort of helmet or shock absorber for their heads as they sprint through the forest. This bird is considered to be more similar to its dinosaur ancestors than most any other bird. They even have a loud, deep call similar to their ancestors that can carry for miles and even be at such a low frequency it can't be heard by humans. Jacob Rogan for Smithsonian.com describes this beast as, quote, an ostrich as described by H.P. Lovecraft, or maybe a turkey fused with a velociraptor. What I'd like to do is see what you think it looks like.
Oh, I know what this looks like.
No,
Somebody's
no.
got an advantage. I'd like you to draw your own guess of what this terrifying
Well,
bird
it's
looks
actually
like.
based on this bird.
I know this one.
It doesn't have to be pretty, but I'll give this to whoever subjectively comes closest. All right, I see your submissions. Peter, that's gorgeous. Will, I absolutely love it. Give me your candy.
Kind of a Charizard.
It is. It's a candy thieving Charizard. I appreciate
With a
this.
bird mouth.
I do think Peter, who has seen this bird before, happened to run away with this one. Here comes the cassowary. Look at them.
Oh, that's a different one from the one I was thinking of.
Look at its huge talon. Just its one huge 5-inch
Big
talon.
shark fin.
Horrifying, fascinating bird to look look at. I also, just because I know we're doing bird calls for the mini games, and I mentioned that it has a terrifyingly low frequency. This one is terrifying, by the way, genuinely. It genuinely sounds like what I would have imagined, like
nasty.
a true dinosaur waking up as. Yeah. All right, players. It's time for your third final minigame. Your final bird call will be of the laughing Kookaburra, which to me sounds similar to that of a laughing monkey.
All right, I'll do one. Yeah. Wee, kick, 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 kick. There you go.
All right, good.
That one
good.
I'm pretty sure came through.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Peter, you want to back up and give us yours?
Yeah, I'm backed up. I know in my head I don't know how I'm gonna make this noise.
I got faint
Okay.
notes of it. So I think you went something like that.
Yeah. Basically just like that.
This is what the laughing Kookaburra sounds like.
Oh, shoot. That's like... Yeah, Peter got that for sure.
For sure. Giving
Peter
that
got
to
that for
Peter.
sure.
You got the roll and you got the ka-ka-ka. All right, players, your final bird is the Watseen. Watseen's are considered the cow of the bird world.
Oh, I think it's better than that. She's not that fast.
Where most birds would eat fruits, seeds, and insects, the Watseen mainly eats leaves, as it is the only bird with a digestive system that ferments vegetation. This bird stinks, literally. Because of the leaves that it eats and the bacterial fermentation it needs to digest those leaves, they produce a manure-like odor, earning them the nickname Stinkbird. You know it's bad when sources say that people will only hunt down this bird in times of dire need. My question for you players is, how many pounds of garbage does New York City generate on their curbs on a daily basis?
Sorry, what?
How
So just nothing to do with this whole bird, then.
Stink.
Just to be clear.
How many pounds
Stink.
of... Yes.
Speaking of stink.
Speaking
New
of
York City.
stink, yeah. How many pounds of garbage does New York City generate on their curbs on a daily basis? I'll give you a helpful tip that the current population of New York City is around 8 million people. All right, I've got both answers. Will you think on a daily basis, New York City curbs generate 1 million pounds worth of garbage? Also more insane, Peter, you think that they generate 42 million pounds worth of garbage?
Doubling down on the insanity.
It's insane.
5 pounds per person dumped on the street.
I thought there were 42 million people in New York, so I just stuck with it.
I'll let you guys know. On average, the population of New York City generates approximately 44 million pounds of garbage on their curbs on a daily basis. Peter, you were so close.
It's unreal.
Oh, yeah. I knew the imaginary New Yorkers had my back.
You almost nailed it. That's about 5.5 pounds of trash from each individual person that lives in that city per day.
You got to think about how many businesses there are, how many restaurants,
That's
how much
also fair.
food is going out. Even if you as a person only give out like 1 pound of trash a day, then like there's all those businesses and hotels and everything.
Fun fact, only about 24 million of that is collected by the city's sanitation department, while the rest is typically handled by private garbage carters. That brings us to the end of today's game. Fun fact, with a total of 7 points, both Peter and Will are today's winners.
Hey, really?
Yeah,
We
you,
tied?
you
Okay.
both ended up in a tie.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Wow, look at us.
Congratulations on receiving enough extra credit to get by today. As today's winners, you will both receive a gift basket full of bird watching gifts and accessories from Bird Collective, a company that works with and often donates to several bird conservation and advocacy groups, committing to raising awareness of projects that will create a better future for our native birds and wildlife. Yeah.
Sponsored?
Not sponsored, just
Sponsored?
happy. Happy
Not
to be
sponsored. Originally, he was just going to reward us with eggs, but that's too pricey now, out of the budget.
here. Yeah.
Oh man, how much is pigeon milk per pound? Yes,
I'm going to guess
10.
it's $42.
it is $45 once again. 42 being extremely close.
Why is 42 working for him? It's the answer to the
was the
universe.
first
It's the
answer
answer to
I got.
everything. That's all the extra credit for today. I'm Zane Shaw, letting you all know that supposedly the Bassian thrush, while foraging, will fart on the ground and then pick off any worms or insects it scares up to the surface. It's amazing what you can learn with a little extra credit. Good night.